Trump's 2017 decision to move the United States Embassy to Jerusalem was heavily influenced by evangelical advisors who saw it as a necessary step toward biblical prophecy. The same evangelicals who supported Israel often promote Islamophobic narratives too, seeing Muslims, especially Palestinians, as obstacles to God's plan. Many televangelists and pastors refer to Islam as a false religion, or link it to the Antichrist, as I was talking about earlier. And I want to make a more detailed note here on Islamophobia. I am in the sphere of deconstruction from high-control religions, particularly patriarchal Abrahamic ones. That is the content I make, that is the subject I have the most experience and authority in, and that is the work I'm most passionate about. Now, I focus on calling out the harm and violence brought about by the organized religion of Christianity specifically, and I do this for three main reasons. The first is, that is what I have the most experience in. I can talk about deconstruction from Christianity in my sleep, and I can help people who have been traumatized by that religion, no matter their specific denomination or version they were brought up in. Secondly, I focus on Christianity because I am here in the United States, where Christian nationalism has a hold on power in our government. We are seeing political leaders buddy up with evangelical Christian leaders to hold sway over the voting preferences of the Christian congregation, often at the expense of marginalized communities. This is a dangerous system that I will continue to identify and critique. However, I do think there is a more complex distinguishing between white evangelical Christianity and the Black American Christian church. While I do critique Christianity as a whole, I will be holding specifically white evangelical Christians more accountable for their actions and beliefs. The Black American Christian Church has historically played its own role in fighting for liberation, civil rights, etc., while still be rooting in Christian doctrine nonetheless. Which leads me to the third reason I focus my energy on confronting Christianity. Because we need to understand the integration of the organized religion of Christianity with patriarchy, white supremacy, and capitalism. We need to understand that Christian missionary work in other countries is another arm of imperialism. We need to understand that the dominating nature of this country and its primary religion is affecting peripheral countries, the global south, and yes, the Middle East. Many atheists in my comment sections want me to condemn Islam just as much as Christianity, if not more so. But here's the problem with that. There's already a long history of white people dictating what people of color should or shouldn't believe. And there's a difference between critiquing religious violence and participating in racist power dynamics. To make sweeping condemnations of all Muslims is to ignore the very real legacy of Western imperialism and the ways many Islamic communities are reacting to and resisting against centuries of occupation, surveillance, and systemic targeted violence. To be clear, I do not condone religious violence in any form, but it is false and frankly dangerous to pretend that Christianity is somehow less violent than Islam. What about the Spanish Inquisition, the Salem witch trials? What about the fact that the United States was founded in large part by white Europeans fleeing violent Christian persecution, only to then replicate domination under a different name later on? Religious violence is a systemic issue, but if we're going to critique it, we must also critique the systems of power that wield religion as a weapon, and ask ourselves whose violence is seen as acceptable and whose is condemned.